I was staring at my phone screen when I heard the lock click. The number glowed back at me. $847. Unauthorized? Declined. Insufficient funds. Not insufficient because I didn't have it. Insufficient because I'd finally done what I should have done months ago. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up to 3 days earlier, when I was standing in the driveway of a beach house I'd rented for $7,000, watching my daughter's SUV pull up 40 minutes late. The Oregon coast was doing that thing it does in July, where the morning fog hasn't quite burned off yet and everything looks soft and gray and peaceful. I'd driven up from Portland at dawn, stopped at the grocery store, unloaded everything, made the beds, put fresh flowers on the dining table. The kind of things you do when you want everything to be perfect. Jessica had been talking about this trip since March. Mom, the kids need this. We all need this. Quality family time. She'd sent me links to rental houses, expensive ones. Then one day she called and said, I found it. The perfect place. Right on the beach. But Mom, it's $4,500 for the week. I'd felt my stomach drop. $4,500. That was a month and a half of my retirement check. Plus cleaning fee and taxes, she added quickly. So probably closer to $7,000 total. I'd opened my mouth to say that was too much. That maybe we could find something smaller, something we could split. But then she said, the kids are already so excited. Emma's been drawing pictures of sandcastles, and you know how hard things have been for us financially since Brad's company restructured. So I'd said yes. I'd put it on my credit card. $7,130 for 1 week. I told myself it was an investment in family memories. That you can't put a price on watching your grandchildren run on the beach. That Jessica was right. We needed this time together. The SUV door opened and Emma tumbled out first, all gangly 8-year-old limbs and sun-bleached hair. Grandma, she ran toward me and I caught her, breathed in that kid smell of fruit snacks and sunshine. This, I thought, this is why you said yes. Then 5-year-old Lucas, moving slower, more serious. He let me hug him, but his eyes were already scanning the house behind me. Is there Wi-Fi? Jessica climbed out, phone pressed to her ear. She waved at me absently. I watched her. This woman I'd raised, now in designer sunglasses I knew cost more than my monthly phone bill, carrying a purse that definitely wasn't from Target. Brad took his time. He stayed in the driver's seat, finishing a call. I could hear him laughing at something. Finally he emerged, stretched, looked at the house, looked at the ocean, and said, Not bad, Maggie. Not bad at all. Not, thank you, not. This is incredible. We're so grateful. Just not bad. Something small and hard formed in my chest. I ignored it. I got groceries, I said. Just basics. I thought we could make a list together and maybe tomorrow we could… Oh, Mom, we're exhausted from the drive, Jessica said, finally off her phone. Can you just grab whatever we need? You know what the kids eat. I looked at Brad. He was already heading inside, not offering to help with luggage. Sure, I heard myself say. Of course. That first night, I made dinner while everyone else was at the beach. Pasta, garlic bread, salad. Simple. When they came back, sandy and laughing, I had everything ready. Jessica looked at the table and said, Oh, carbs. Brad's trying to cut back, but she sat down anyway. Brad ate 3 servings. The next morning, I was up at 6, making coffee. When Jessica appeared in yoga pants and a sports bra I recognized from an expensive activewear brand. Morning, Mom. Brad and I were thinking we'd do the coastal wine trail today. There's a highly rated tasting room in Manzanita. Could you watch the kids? I thought this was family time, I said carefully. It is, but the kids would be bored at a winery. They'll have more fun here with you. You can take them to the tide pools. There's boogie boards in the garage. Make it an adventure. She was already texting, not looking at me. Jessica, I was hoping we could all… Mom. She finally looked up. Brad and I never get alone time. We both work full time. This is our vacation too, you know. We can do family stuff tomorrow. And that's how I spent day 2. 7 hours with Emma and Lucas while their parents wine tasted and had a leisurely lunch in Cannon Beach and stopped at art galleries. I made sandwiches, I refereed fights about the boogie boards. I helped build a sandcastle and watched the tide destroy it while Lucas cried. I read the same picture book 4 times. When Jessica and Brad finally came back at 6, they were sunburned and giggly and smelled like wine and seafood. "Did you guys eat?" I asked. "Oh, yeah. We had this incredible crab melt at this cute little place. You would have loved it, Mom. Maybe we can all go before we leave." "Maybe. Before we leave. Not, let me take you there tomorrow. Not, I wish you'd been with us." I made hot dogs for the kids. Made myself one too. Ate it standing at the counter. That night, lying in bed, I could hear them through the walls. Jessica's laugh, Brad's lower voice, the sounds of a couple enjoying their vacation. I opened my banking app. Just to check. Just to see where I was after the $7,000 charge. That's when I saw it. A charge from 3 days ago, the day before we left. $327. Serenity Day Spa, Portland. My credit card. The one I'd given Jessica 2 years ago, after her father died, when she said, "Mom, what if there's an emergency and I can't reach you?" The one that was supposed to be for emergencies only. I sat up in bed. I scrolled back. 2 weeks before that, $215. Nordstrom. A week before that, $108. Some restaurant I didn't recognize. My hands were shaking. I kept scrolling. May, April, March, February, January. Page after page after page. Sephora. Anthropologie. Whole Foods. Target. Restaurants. More restaurants. A boutique fitness studio. Children's boutique clothing stores with names like Little Luxe and Petit Trésor. I added it up in my head. Stopped. Started over. Added it again more carefully. 8 months. Almost $9,000. $9,000 I didn't know about. $9,000 on a card I'd given her for emergencies. I sat there, in that beach house. I'd paid $7,000 to rent. In the dark. Feeling my chest get tight in that way that scared me sometimes. That made me worry about my heart. She'd asked me, 6 months ago, if I could help with the kids' preschool tuition. "Just a loan, Mom. We'll pay you back." I'd given her $1,500. Money I'd been saving for new windows. Windows I still needed. 4 months ago. "Mom, our property taxes went up. Could you help us out, just this once?" $2,000. Money I'd been saving for a trip to see my sister in Arizona. A trip I'd canceled. And all that time, she'd been spending $9,000 on my credit card. The tightness in my chest turned into something else. Something hot and hard and clarifying. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I heard them in the kitchen. Smelled coffee. I got dressed. Walked out. Jessica was making French toast. Brad was reading something on his phone. The kids were watching cartoons. "Morning, Mom," Jessica said brightly. "I'm making your favorite. Thought I'd treat you for once." "We need to talk," I said. Something in my voice made Brad look up. "I saw the charges," I said. Jessica's smile didn't move, but something in her eyes did. "What charges?" "On the credit card I gave you. For emergencies." She turned back to the stove, flipped a piece of bread. "Oh, yeah. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. $9,000, Jessica." "It's not 9,000, she said, but her voice was different now, defensive. "And they were emergencies, mostly." "A spa day is an emergency?" "Mom, I'm a working mother. Self-care isn't a luxury, it's a necessity." "You wouldn't understand." I stared at her back. "Try me." She spun around. "You know what? Fine. Yes, I've used the card. For things I needed, for things the kids needed. You have the money, Mom. You're retired, you have your pension, and Dad's life insurance, and the house is paid off. We're drowning here. Brad's salary got cut. Preschool is $1,500 a month. Emma needs braces soon. Do you know what those cost? We can barely keep our heads above water. So you've been taking money from me without asking. It's not taking, it's borrowing. And you're my mother. Isn't this what mothers do? Help their children?" Brad hadn't said anything. I looked at him. "You knew about this?" He shrugged, put his phone down. "Jess handles the finances." "Were you there for the spa day?" I asked Jessica. "The $300 one?" She didn't answer. "How about the Nordstrom trip? The restaurants?" Oh my God. You're really going to do this? You're going to nickel and dime me? After everything? After everything I've done for you, you mean? I didn't ask you to pay for this house. You absolutely did. You sent me the listing. You said the kids needed it. You said things were hard financially. They are. And then you come at me about a few charges. $9,000. When you clearly have plenty to spare if you can drop $7,000 on a vacation rental. The logic was dizzying. Circular. I'd seen this before, years ago, when she was a teenager, and I'd caught her lying about where she'd been. The way she could twist things, make me feel like I was the one being unreasonable. But I wasn't 16 anymore, and neither was she. The credit card is canceled, I said. What? I'm calling the bank this morning, reporting it lost. They'll issue me a new one. You won't have access. Jessica's face went red. Are you serious right now? Completely. Fine. Fine. You want to be like that? After I asked you on this trip? After I tried to include you in our family time? I paid for this trip. Because you offered. Because you asked me to. We were both shouting now. Brad stood up. Okay, ladies, let's everyone just take a breath. Stay out of this, Brad, I said. And he actually took a step back. I looked at my daughter, this person I'd raised. I'd rocked her when she was sick, taught her to read, helped her with algebra homework, paid for her college, stood next to her at her wedding, held her hand when she gave birth to Emma, and she was looking at me like I was the enemy. You know what? I said, and my voice was shaking but clear. I'm leaving. Oh, don't be dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. I'm leaving. Today. This morning. You can stay for the rest of the week. It's paid for. Mom, but I'm done. I'm done with the guilt trips. I'm done with being an ATM. I'm done pretending like this is normal. Where are you going to go? Home. My home. That I own. That I paid off with my money. I walked to my room. Started packing. My hands were still shaking, but it felt good. It felt right. Jessica appeared in the doorway. You're really doing this? You're really going to ruin this vacation? I didn't ruin it. I paid for it. Enjoy it. What about the kids? You're just going to leave them? They have their parents, who, according to you, never get alone time. Well, here's a whole week. Grandma? Emma's small voice. She was standing behind Jessica, holding her stuffed whale. Are you leaving? My heart cracked, but I knelt down. Just for a little bit, sweetie. But I'll see you very soon. Did we do something wrong? No, baby. You're perfect. Grandma just needs to go home for a while. I hugged her. Hugged Lucas when he shuffled over. Avoided looking at Jessica. The drive back to Portland took 3 hours. I cried for the first hour, white-knuckled fury for the second, numb silence for the third. When I got home, I called the credit card company. Reported unauthorized charges. They started a dispute. Issued me a new card. The old one was dead within an hour. I went through my bank statements. Every automatic transfer I'd set up to Jessica's account. Kids' activities. Streaming services I didn't even use that Jessica had asked me to pay for. Her car insurance that somehow I'd ended up covering. I canceled everything. Then I sat down at my kitchen table with a cup of tea and my laptop and I did something I hadn't done in 10 years. I looked at flights to Scotland. When my husband was alive, we'd always talked about going. Visiting the Highlands. Staying in a castle. Driving on the wrong side of the road and laughing about it. But we'd been waiting. For retirement. For when we had more time. For when the kids were settled. And then he died of a heart attack in our driveway. Age 58. Never made it to retirement. I'd been so careful with money after that. So afraid of running out. Of being a burden. Of not having enough. But sitting there in my quiet kitchen, looking at the flights, I did the math differently. I had enough. I'd always had enough. I had my pension. I had Ed's life insurance. I had savings. I had a paid-off house. What I didn't have was Ed, or endless time, or a guarantee of tomorrow. I booked 2 weeks in Scotland, flights, a car rental, a mix of B&Bs and 1 night in an actual castle, $5,000. Less than what I'd spent on a beach house I'd spent 1 night in. Less than what Jessica had spent on my credit card without asking. My phone rang while I was entering my credit card information. Jessica. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again and again. Finally, a text. We need to talk about this. I turned my phone off, finished booking Scotland, sat back. The house was quiet, but it wasn't lonely. It was peaceful. That was Tuesday. By Friday, I had 17 missed calls, 12 text messages, 6 from Jessica, 6 from Brad. I read them Saturday morning with my coffee. Jessica. Mom, you're being ridiculous. I can't believe you're doing this. The kids are asking about you. You need to call me back. Fine. Be childish. You know what? I'm done. Don't expect to hear from me. Brad's were different. Maggie. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Jessica's really upset. Can we talk about this like adults? Did you really cancel the cards? Jess tried to use it, and it was declined. Very embarrassing. You're making things very difficult. I deleted them all. Sunday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. Mom? Jessica's voice. Using Brad's phone. Hi, Jessica. Did you get my messages? I did. Silence. Then, so, are you going to say anything? What would you like me to say? An apology would be nice. I almost laughed. For what? For ruining the vacation. For humiliating me. For cutting me off without warning. I gave you warning. I told you what I was doing before I left. I didn't think you were serious. And there it was. She hadn't believed me. Had thought I'd cool off, come back, apologize, restore the credit card. I'm very serious, I said. So what? You're just never going to help me again? You're going to punish me forever because I used a stupid credit card? I'm not punishing you. I'm setting boundaries. Boundaries? Oh my God. Did you read that in some self-help book? I've read several, actually. Lots of time for reading when you're retired. She made an exasperated sound. Fine. You want to play it this way? Go ahead. But don't come crying to me when you're lonely and you've alienated your only daughter. I won't, I said. And don't expect us to come visit. Don't expect the kids to want to see you. Something sharp in my chest. But I said, if you choose to withhold my grandchildren as punishment, that's your choice. But I won't be manipulated by it. I'm not manipulating. Yes, you are. You're trying to make me feel guilty, so I'll give you what you want. It's what you've been doing for months, maybe years. And I'm saying it stops now. Wow. You know what, Mom? I'm done. I'm completely done. Okay. That's all you have to say? What else would you like me to say? She hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand. And I waited for the guilt to come. The panic. The need to call her back and smooth things over and fix it. But it didn't come. Instead, I felt clear. That was 3 weeks ago. Tomorrow, I fly to Edinburgh. I've bought new walking shoes and a rain jacket, downloaded audiobooks, printed out my itinerary. I'll spend 3 days in Edinburgh, then rent a car and drive north through the Highlands. Stay in a stone cottage in Skye. Have dinner in that castle. Drive back down the coast. Alone, but not lonely. My book club threw me a going-away party last week. Good for you, Martha said, toasting me with wine. I wish I had your courage, but it didn't feel like courage. It felt like survival. This morning, my phone buzzed. Email from my credit card company. The dispute had been resolved. $847 refunded. Unauthorized charges reversed. I thought about what I'd spend it on. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Maybe just let it sit in my account as proof that I could say no, could set limits, could survive the discomfort of disappointing someone. Even my daughter, especially my daughter. My neighbor, Tom, is going to water my plants while I'm gone. Check my mail. I gave him my itinerary, just in case. He's 72, widowed like me. And when I told him about Scotland, he said, Ed would be proud of you. I think he would be. I think he'd be furious about what Jessica had done. But more than that, I think he'd be glad I was finally doing something for myself. I've been packing all afternoon, folding sweaters, rolling socks. It's September, so it'll be cool in Scotland. Maybe rainy. I don't care. I'll walk in the rain if I have to. My phone is on the counter. Silent. No calls today. No texts. Part of me keeps waiting for Jessica to reach out, to apologize, to say she understands now, that she was wrong, that she wants to fix this. But a bigger part of me knows that's not how this works. That boundaries aren't about waiting for other people to validate them. They're about holding them regardless. I zip my suitcase, set it by the door. Tomorrow at this time, I'll be somewhere over the Atlantic, flying toward a country I've never seen, toward castles and highlands and lochs, toward everything Ed and I dreamed about, and I'll be doing it alone. Not because I want to be alone, but because I finally learned that sometimes the price of companionship is too high, that being needed isn't the same as being loved, that giving everything doesn't mean you'll get anything back. I think about Emma and Lucas, wonder if they're asking about me. Hope they are, even though it hurts. But I think about the lesson I'm teaching them too, that grandma has value beyond her bank account, that love isn't measured in dollars, that people who really care about you don't take until you're empty. Maybe they'll remember that. Maybe one day they'll understand. Or maybe they won't. Maybe Jessica will tell them I abandoned them, that I chose a trip over family, that I'm selfish and cruel. But they'll be wrong. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm finding myself, the woman who existed before she became a mother, before she became a grandmother, before she became an ATM with a heartbeat. Margaret Chen, Maggie, 68 years old, retired librarian, widow, mother, grandmother, and traveler. Tomorrow, Scotland. Next month, who knows? But whatever comes next, I'm going to be okay. Because I finally learned the most important word in the English language. No,